Hi, everybody. It's Region Weather Meteorologist Matt Wentz. I appreciate you joining us here for this Region Weather Live here on Sunday night. We're going to try to do these every Sunday night around this time, so around 11 o'clock local time, give or take a couple minutes, but we want to start doing it consistently. And what we're going to do on these Sunday night Region Weather Lives is look ahead at the week in terms of weather, in terms of what we've got in store. Sunday night's just a great night to plan. And so that's exactly what we'll do on this episode of Region Weather Live Sunday Night Edition. And welcome in, everybody. Hope you are doing well. I think last time we spoke, we had a major winter storm bearing down on us. So this is certainly nice to chat about a little bit more relaxing weather as we head into spring. Hope you're enjoying the later sunsets. If you missed it earlier, we put out a Facebook post about the sunset times over the next 5 weeks. And we certainly are gaining some hours here, about 2 minutes and 45 seconds per day that we're getting in terms of daylight. And that adds up quickly, as you know. So a couple things we want to jump into. We've got, we're not done with the snow yet this year. Unfortunately, typically our last snow is not until the month of April. So it's not quite the month of April yet. So we don't have a lot of snow coming our way. In fact, we don't have much at all. It's going to be more of a wintry mix that's going to move in here tomorrow morning. So I want to talk about that. Also want to talk about a rain system later on this week. And then we've got some good news for the end of this broadcast. We'll make this short and sweet just so you get your information. You can take it. You can go to bed knowing what the weather's going to be all week, and then we'll do it all over again next week. So that's kind of how we're going to roll today. All right, so let's get into the maps. We will go with, I want to show this model first. I want to talk about the winter weather that we've got around the area tomorrow morning as well, and kind of highlight what kind of impacts we're going to get around that as well. Want to say hi to those joining us tonight. Max, hi Max. We should, Matt, thanks. Yep. Abigail, hi. John, hello. And Kim, hello. Thanks for joining us, guys. Hope you're doing well. Happy almost spring. Boy, we're almost there. A week from now, it will be spring, but that doesn't mean anything weather-wise, does it? All right, so here's what we've got moving in. This is the same system that produced all of the mess in areas of Colorado and Wyoming. They had lots of heavy snow out there, 2 to 3 feet. I don't think the storm was quite as big as they were anticipating. They had some dry air that worked in there, but it was still a pretty decent storm for a lot of the Rockies. They had severe weather in the plains. This is that same system. So watch what happens as we go through time. This thing is kind of pinwheeling its way right towards the region. Now, the thing that we have going for us is the fact that we've got really dry air working in here from the north and the east. So that dry air that we've had is really eating away at the system. So it's not going to come in very strong. In fact, this whole thing's going to be weakening as it moves in. But there's still a pretty decent amount of energy as this moves in. So you can see here as we go into tomorrow morning, that's not rain heading our way. That's a mix of some freezing rain, some sleet, and some snow mixed with perhaps some raindrops for areas that have temperatures above freezing. But most of us tonight are going to get down into the upper 20s for lows, so below freezing, and that's just problematic when we throw precip on it. So the big question is, how much does this dry air eat away at it? How much of this precipitation moves in and kind of fizzles out or evaporates as it falls? That's the big question. I do think we are going to have some wintry mix around tomorrow morning. The good news is once we get beyond the morning hours, we're talking maybe 11 to noon. That's when things are going to start to melt off. We've got a March sun that's, even though it's going to be cloudy out, is still, we get the solar radiation from it. That'll help melt things. We typically don't get big winter weather problems this time of year unless that snowfall rate or ice rate is really heavy. So we're not expecting that. But again, tomorrow morning, this is going to start probably around 6. It depends, again, on when it starts falling. But 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock even. Watch for some slick spots out on area roadways, and keep an eye on your car thermometer as well. We don't always talk about, car thermometers being accurate, but they're pretty accurate when there's not sun beating down on you, okay? In the summertime, it's not 150 degrees, okay? Trust me, we get texts and tweets all the time about that. But in the wintertime, when you have clouds, even in the springtime, it tends to be pretty accurate. So if you're out driving and that your car thermometer says anything below freezing, just know if it's raining outside, that's likely freezing on untreated surfaces. So just keep that in mind. When it goes above 32, give it a little while to melt. We should be fine. So we're talking about, in terms of scale, a pretty minor event tomorrow morning, but just something that's going to be more of a nuisance and we're going to have to keep our eye out for. So you watch as we go through time, this system. I'm actually going to blow this up full screen so you can see a little bit better. Hopefully that gives you a little better angle of it. But you can see as the storm comes in, pretty decent little line of moisture. And again, as that mixes in our other cold air, that's when we get some of that icing around. But watch what happens as we go through afternoon. We start to clear things out. By tomorrow evening, we'll likely just have some drizzle and scattered showers left, but we should have a fairly dry afternoon tomorrow. Now, tomorrow night and Tuesday, you see that little area of rain that moves through. That's got a decent area of energy. If we track that back, you can see that's the actual low. It's back in Kansas here tomorrow morning, and watch how that just kind of works its way in our direction. I wouldn't be surprised if we had just a couple lightning strikes out of that as that moves through, just because there's pretty good uplift with that. And again, that would be Tuesday morning. Most of us will be sleeping before we're up. But just kind of an interesting feature that'll be moving through here. And then that heads on out. We quiet down the rest of Tuesday into Wednesday, and then we talk our next system that's moving in. So let's talk about that next system. In terms of this week, we've really got two systems to watch. We've got this one tomorrow, that little blip Tuesday morning before we're up. So you really don't need to worry about that. And then we're talking some rain later on this week with another area of low pressure that will actually be a little bit stronger. So here goes our first low. That heads on by. We've already talked about that. And then Wednesday into Thursday, you can see a pretty strong area of low pressure gets going down towards Kansas. This will spread rain in our direction and some warmer temperatures as well. We'll jump up into the 50s with this, but we're still on the northern periphery of this, so it's going to be kind of a raw rainfall around here. And again, this arrives late Wednesday and especially Thursday. And yeah, there's some wet snow chances in northern Illinois. I'm not really buying that at this point for us here in the region. I think we'll stay all rain, but you can see it's a pretty good soaking after St. Patrick's Day festivities are over, right? On Wednesday, we start to bring in the clouds. We'll bring in that rain Thursday, and then it clears out. That will set a stage for a nice high pressure to work in here on Friday and Saturday, and that sets a stage for a beautiful warm-up next week out ahead of this next system you see coming in. So what I want to do now, last thing I want to do before we open up to questions and we get you on your way this evening, is talk about temperatures, because this is going to get pretty exciting towards the end of this forecast here. So let me zoom in a little bit more if I can, just so you guys can get a good read of these numbers. If you have worsening eyesight like me from being at a computer all day, it tends to do that to you, right? So what we're going to be looking at here are the high temperatures for each day, right? So I want to take you through it, at least in terms of what the Euro is saying. Model's a little different with the GFS, but overall they have a similar idea of what's going to happen. So tomorrow, obviously it's going to be kind of cold tomorrow. So our high temperatures are right here. You can see we're not going to get much above the mid to upper 30s tomorrow. So cold morning, some icy problems perhaps in the morning that'll be isolated. And then by afternoon, we thaw out with these mid to upper 30s. That's the good news. We'll have to keep an eye on tomorrow night when that next wave moves in, because we will drop down near freezing again. We may have some more slick spots Monday night before that next little batch of rain and perhaps some thunder moves through Tuesday morning. After that, we're done with the icing for the week. You can see as we get on into Tuesday, we're talking temperatures that are up in the 50s for Newton, Jasper, Stark counties. But you know the drill this time of year. Lakeshore counties will be notably cooler because we will have a northern component to that wind. So still kind of on the cool side as we get on into Tuesday. Here's your Wednesday. You can see how we're in the shadow of the lake here with that wind off the lake. Notice temperatures are much, much colder lakeside. Meanwhile, we're in the mid, even upper 50s as the clouds begin to increase and that rain moves in for your St. Patrick's Day. So a pretty nice day if you get away from the lake. But if you're close to the lakeshore, it will be on the chilly side. Then remember, we've got rain moving in here on Thursday. That's going to be just a raw rain. That warm air has now shifted east. We're generally going to be in the 40s with some showers and rain likely on Thursday. Just not really the best of day if you have plans on Thursday. And then I mentioned the weekend gets set up really nicely. This is Friday. We're cold, right? We've got a strong northeasterly wind, so that's going to drive colder air into Lake and Porter counties. Meanwhile, we're near 50 elsewhere. But watch what happens as we get on the other side of that high pressure. On Saturday, we start to warm up. We're into the 50s. We'll likely have lots of sunshine. On Sunday, boy, that's looking good. Low 60s. say the models, I would beg to go a little warmer with this. In my local forecast tonight, I went in the mid 60s with this air mass here. I think this will overdo some of these numbers here. But bottom line, next Sunday looks great. And then you can see how the warmth stays with us as we go into next week, at least into Monday. That's out ahead of a system, likely mid 60s. And then Tuesday, still warm. And this model's saying upper 60s. And then we'll cool things down a little bit as we get beyond that time frame. But overall, we've got a really nice warm-up to look forward to as we get into this time next week. So that's what the week looks like. If you have any weather questions, be happy to answer those. And then we can all get our tart cherry juice and go to bed. In terms of tart cherry juice, I'm so addicted to this stuff. Has anyone tried tart cherry juice? Apparently it's like an ailment or cures gout and stuff like that. I just drink it because it tastes really good. But I've got so many bottles stocked up here. I'm just addicted to a glass of it at night with some ice. I think I'm getting old, but I'm happy with it. It's great. So anyway, let me know if you've tried some tart cherry juice. It's tart, but once you get used to it, you get used to it. All right, Sherry asks, what time do you think it'll all begin in Northwest Indiana? Sherry, that is going to deal with how much of it evaporates before it hits the ground. So that's actually a tough question. There's some down in southern Illinois now. That band's trying to get in here, but there's dry air. My best guess is it'll be scattered in portions of the region. Not everyone's going to see it at first. It's going to start Newton and Jasper County, kind of work its way in. But I would guess by 6 a.m. we'll start to see some of that on radar in the region. And then throughout the morning, it'll probably be kind of patchy on radar. But the worst timing, I think, is going to be that morning rush hour through 11 a.m. And again, this is not a big event. This is not going to be something where you look out your window and you say, oh, man, it's ice everywhere. A lot of you are going to look out the window and say, there's nothing happening. Like, where is this stuff? It's going to be scattered. So just keep that in mind. Not a huge deal, okay? Abigail says, so ready for thunderstorms? Eileen says, hi, Matt. Thought you'd post a picture of you and the kids making a pie for Pie Day. Yeah, we didn't make pies today for Pie Day. We made breakfast this morning. We did, my son was up. I've got, for those that haven't joined us for a while, my name is Matt. Nice to meet you. But I've got 3 kids. I've got a 6-month-old and a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. It's a mess in this house. And then I'm down here in the basement of my weather center, and I've got cat litters. So, because we've got cats. So it's a mess. It smells like a mess down here. It's just crazy. But anyway, my son got up early this morning. I woke up with the time change, and was letting my wife sleep. And I was sneaking out. I was going to make everyone breakfast, and my 2-year-old's up. And I'm like, what are you doing? So I said, come on, let's go downstairs. So we made breakfast. It was kind of fun this morning. No pies today, though. Elijah, great question on Minnesota got hit with hail a few days ago. Yeah, Minnesota had some severe weather the other day. They have snow now. At least they will get some with this system. That's a good question. I don't think we'll have any severe weather with this, but we'll have to watch. We may get isolated hail with that little system that comes through Tuesday morning. Nothing widespread, nothing like Minnesota got. It's not the same deal with that. But I wouldn't be surprised if we had a little bit of that. Brian, great question as well. He's asking about the hail as well. I'm not too concerned about that. I don't think there'll be a severe weather threat at all with this. Tomorrow morning, if you see ice balls falling, that's going to be sleet. That's not going to be hail. That's sleet tomorrow morning. This is a wintry setup tomorrow morning. Chris says it's good with Tito's. I bet it is. We're doing this no drinking thing in the house, and it's, I don't know, every now and then my wife and I'll have a glass of wine, but we've really cut back. We used to have wine like almost every other night, just for fun, but yeah, we kind of cut back on that. We're focused on health this year, and I don't know, it's just something to do, I think, in the quarantine. Karen knows what I'm talking about, that tart cherry juice. Brenda's ready for flip-flop weather. I am too, Brenda. And then Max, great question. So we actually have a pretty good idea how it'll pan out. So we get warm next weekend, right? Because there's a nice ridge that takes place. While we can't fine tune the details around when a front will move in or exactly what that looks like, it doesn't look like we're going to have severe weather with this next one, Max, because the low pressure is going to be way up in Canada. For us to have severe weather around here, we need the warm up. We need the moisture, which we'll have in terms of humidity, stuff like that. We'll have that next weekend, but we also need a low pressure that's kind of close to us because it creates a lot of forcing, a lot of lift. And this low pressure is going to be way up in Canada. So we'll likely have some rain, as this clears out, we'll likely have some thunderstorms as it clears out, but it doesn't look to me like a severe weather event across the region a week, maybe a week and a half from now. I'm not seeing it right now, but something to keep an eye on for sure. Chris knows what's up. They have Chris, you have a 2 and a 5-year-old. One glass and we'll fall asleep. I'm with you. Absolutely. Struggle's real, buddy. It really is. You know, I don't want to sugarcoat it. Anyone thinking about having kids out there, 1's fine, 2's fine. 3 it gets a little hairy. Let's just say that. So, all right. So that's the way this is going to look, guys. We'll get you in and out. I wanted to keep these under 15 minutes, and I'm looking at the time. We're literally at 14 minutes right now. So we'll wrap this up. Obviously, we'll keep you updated. Couple things we've got working on in the pipelines here. There's some pretty exciting things and ideas that I've got for regionweather.com. I mentioned we're going to take more of our content there rather than Facebook. We're also going to be doing more with YouTube again. Again, it all requires time, right? And I've got some open spots here where we can start to work on some of that stuff. So, you know, keep an eye on our YouTube page. Keep an eye on regionweather.com. We'll be posting more content there than on Facebook over the coming weeks. So we'll definitely have some stuff there just because Facebook chooses when you see things, and I don't like that in the weather world. I'd rather have you go and see, you know, the information when you need it, not when they choose to show it in your feed. So it's too much control over critical weather information when you need it. So that's kind of where we're going next couple months. And again, we're going to be doing this every Sunday night. We're going to call it Region Weather Live, and it'll be the Sunday night edition. We'll look at the week ahead so you guys are prepared for the weather that we have upcoming. It'll be busy some weeks it won't. That's the way it goes here in the region, okay? All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Hope you have a wonderful week. Get some sleep tonight and enjoy your tart cherry juice.